welcome back to Iceland, where Cloud9 just made it to the group stage after a very convincing series against Peace. And Mithi, first off, congrats on making it to the group stage. How do you feel right now?
Thank you. I guess relieved. I mean, it was to be expected. We had scrimmed them against before, and we knew we were the better team, so mostly relieved, yeah.
I can imagine, but tell me about the last few days from the unfortunate events around the tiebreakers 2 days ago to finally getting the mental reset you needed to get the victory today.
Well, yeah, I mean, just best of ones is just a horrible system, so it's very hard to really, you know, like you have a bad day, you just lose. So we had a good day, or the good 2 days, and then since the teams that we played against are at a similar skill level to ours, so maybe we were the better team in that day, and you know, it just against DFM and Unicorns, well, they played well, and all merit to them. So we just
I can imagine, but I tend to say that usually teams can learn a lot throughout losses. Do you think you learned a lot from this, and it's going to help you for the group stage?
I think it's just understanding the meta a little bit more and what works for us. So yeah, could say so, yeah.
All right, and now focusing on group stage, you end up in Group A. I guess that it was expected after Hanwha Life qualified this morning. So you will play with Damwon, Fun plus Phoenix, Rogue. Everybody tends to say that Fun plus Phoenix and Damwon are the favorites here, but how much do you think you can benefit from this position, given that, yeah, they are looking to make it out of groups as of now?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the group is hard. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We definitely are not favorites to qualify, but like I said, I mean, it's a best of one, so anything can really happen, and that goes more in our favor than in theirs, in my opinion. And we also have the experience of the play-ins for the good and the bad. So it's actually, I'm hopeful.
I want to know more about this experience from the plane, as you said, when it comes to the meta, what suits you, and yeah, what do you think is we're going to continue seeing when it comes to drafts? Because we know that so far Miss Fortune has been very successful, Lee Sin as well. Not so much about Amumu. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a lot more diversity going into the group stage, because all of these teams don't really scrim the playing teams, they scrim each other. So they have like their own thing going on there too, and they'll also be wanting to try it on stage because it's working for them in scrims. Just like Amumu had been working for most of the playing teams in scrims, and it just didn't work on stage. So the read is probably going to be exciting for the fans and for us too. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes.
It's been very exciting so far, and also your run has been very exciting. Mithi, again, thank you so much for this interview. Congrats on making it to the group stage, and yeah, have a good day off. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Thank you.
And Shox, back to you in Cooldown.
Thank you so much, Laure. Always wonderful to hear from Mithi again. And welcome everyone to Worlds Cooldown after our last day of play-ins. I'm Shox, joined by Goldborg and Raz, and this is awesome because we have some time actually to talk about the groups, because now we know definitively rather, what they look like. But first, let's start by wrapping up Cloud9 versus Peace. Raz, slow-ish start maybe in game 1, but after that, it was just all Cloud9 all the time.
Yeah, they got a lot more comfortable, and we got to see the second take of the Nami versus Sven. Now, this is game 1. I don't want to see this one because Sven
why are we showing
was
this?
able to redeem himself. Like, Sven in game 3, I felt like had an insane performance, was able to dive MF twice. I think understanding that Rakan had his battle song, his E, level 1, so he just took advantage of that one. So, great bounce back from Sven in this series.
I agree. Same goes, I guess, for Vulcan if we look at a couple of days ago, and the whole team, really.
I think Vulcan as well actually evolved in this series in terms of how the first bot lane went, then going on to game 2, actually being able to play around Blabber. And then here in game 3, it just seemed like Cloud9 understood that there's not enough highlight to put in a montage before they reach groups. So this last game, they just really needed that extra highlight to put in.
I see. So here we see the completed bracket.
Our video editing team thanks them.
Yes, they do. The play-ins knockouts team. This is a group stage. Before we look at the group stage, though, we can keep it up on screen, hopefully. I do want to say something about Peace because, yeah, it was an unfortunate 3-0 here for them. We saw a couple of screenshots that they were having a bit of fun there. But I think when you look at the whole year for the region, including what they were able to show at MSI and how they got to the final round of the knockout stage here, I'm hopeful for the LCL.
I actually agree, and it feels like just in general that you need to remember that it was a close playoff throughout the LCO as well, to the point where some of these teams actually go nice head-to-head against each other. So that also means when you're rebuilding rosters going into the next year or heading into next MSI, there's still very much hope for this region despite the circumstances.
Yeah, just want to say for people to just watch LCO when it's on, because there are a lot of new rising players and talents there. I know Pentanet couldn't make it here, but they have damn good players from that one. So it shows that when they can come to this event, they're actually getting stronger, knowing, of course, like with the talent, especially, you know, Babip and Tally having experience going to the academy system. You can take players away, but there's still more players rising up.
Yeah, and I know it's not the best time zone for Europeans, but if you do have time, also the broadcast is hilarious. Like, they have the funniest skits, and they have really good synergy, and they really make a very fun and cohesive show over there in the LCO. But now let's take a look at the groups for the group stage. I mean, Worlds is amazing, right? It's just 6 weeks, and first the play-ins full of stress, and now we get to an even more stressful stage for a lot of the teams we haven't seen yet. So let's run down the groups, starting with Cloud9, who was victorious today. They land in Group A with 2 world champions and Rogue. Damwon, Kia, FunPlus Phoenix, Rogue, and Cloud9 Goldborg.
It's probably the group of death. It already was before Cloud9 was seeded into it, but now with...
Let me ask you, what is your definition of a group of death?
Well, my group of death is in terms of the caliber of top teams still in it, and then how close it is to the bottom tier team in that group. So like how close the competitiveness is between these two. So as you already said, 2 former world champions. Rogue that didn't look too good towards the end of LEC, but which we still know have a very high ceiling. And then Cloud9 obviously coming into it, which historically has done well around world times. So I just think in general, when you combine all these factors together, this group to me is one of the most exciting one and dangerous ones.
Yeah.
Yes, I think historians will look back at Worlds and will say this is the most deathest group. Because even looking at the LPL, FunPlus Phoenix, even though they didn't get championships in both spring and summer, were the favorites in both spring and summer. They have Naguri, Doonbi, consistent, insane forces in the regular season, and I think when they come to playoffs, or at least when they come to the main stage here, that they'll show the international fans just that.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I think, you know, I still have hope in Rogue, especially in Best of Ones. We haven't seen them in a while, so I'm definitely an optimist there. Also, in terms of Cloud9, I mean, I know we meme MSI and whatnot, but they did also end up beating the 2 strongest teams at the tournament there. And I feel like Cloud9 specifically is a team that can really adjust to their opponents and find a higher ceiling when they need to. So all that makes this group so interesting. Mithy did say, we're not that good at Best of Ones, horrible system. Don't blame the game, man. I mean, all the other teams are seemingly good at
that's going to benefit him now. He's going up against the top team. It's going to be like, all right, great. We cheesed some victories in the best of one. This is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's saying that it's going to benefit him now going into it, because consistency with the top teams are going to benefit them in a best of 3, best of 5 setting. But now you're going to see moments where Rogue and Cloud9 could take a game off of them, and that's going to mean a lot.
Absolutely. I think it's actually going to be a boon for them. Earlier, we also saw Hanwha Life secure a spot in the group stage, and Lore caught up with their jungler.
And we are back in Iceland, where Hanwha Life Esports found their way to the group stage, and they will join Group C. We'll talk about that in a few seconds, but for now, I'm joined by Wheeler to talk about this amazing series. 안녕하세요. Thank you for joining me. This was a fantastic series, but also a really good run from you overall in the playing stage. And I noticed that there was a lot more aggression coming from you when you compare to the LCK performance you had throughout the whole year. So how comfortable have you been feeling? And tell me about the adjustments you made in your playstyle in particular.
네, 우선은 그룹 스테이지 진출 정말 축하드리고요. 오늘 엄청난 활약을 통해서 승리를 가져오셨는데 아무래도 그룹에 진출하는 그 상황 속에서도 더욱더 좋은 그런 신호인 것 같습니다. 오늘 경기를 보니까 LCK에서 보여줬던 모습보다 훨씬 더 공격적이고 과감한 그런 플레이가 나왔는데 어떻게 잘 적응하고 계신지, 그리고 플레이 스타일은 어떤 식으로 변화해가고 있는 건가요?
일단 플레이 스타일은 기본적으로 저희 뭐 주도권이 있다, 교전이 세다 하면은 그쪽으로 최대한 교전을 내는 쪽으로 하고 있고요. 그리고 각자 개인의 플레이 집중하면서 서로 콜할 거 하고 맞춰가고 있는 것 같아요.
So basically about the playstyle, when we are, stronger in fight, we have priority. We always tend to have fights, and also as an individuals, we all try to perform well and share calls and look for a better teamwork.
Yeah, and we saw the improvements for Hanwha Life Esports throughout the play-in stage. I remember the first few days were a bit shaky for you, but how comfortable and strong do you feel right now?
네, 조금씩 개선해 나가고 있다고 하셨는데 하나생명이 정말로 초반에 비해서 계속해서 발전하고 강해지는 그런 모습을 보여주고 있습니다. 지금 마음가짐이라든지 조금 분위기 같은 거는 많이 긴장이 풀리고 좀 적응이 된 건가요?
이제 좀 적응이 된 것 같아요. 조금씩 편해지고 있는 것 같아요.
Yeah, I think we're kinda slowly getting used to everything.
Okay, well, that's great to hear because you will be playing your very first World Championship group stage, Wheeler. How do you feel about that?
왜냐면 이제 윌러 선수가 곧 생애 첫 그룹 스테이지를 플레이하실 예정인데 그것에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
일단 이 자리에 설 수 있는 것 자체가 영광이고 그리고 이런 자리에 설 수 있다는 그런 가치를 증명하도록 하겠습니다.
I mean, even right now, standing right here is a big honor for me, and I want to prove myself that I deserve to stand right here.
And you will have multiple opportunities to do so, as you will be playing in Group C with Fnatic, RNG, and PSG Talon. So tell me about the opposition there, and especially when it comes to the jungler you will be facing.
네, 이제 앞으로 증명하실 기회가 앞으로 그룹 스테이지 정말 많을 것 같은데 그럼 이제 C조에서 PSG나 RNG, 푸나틱을 상대하실 예정인데 어떻게 생각하시는지 특히 정글러 매치업에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
PSG의 리버 선수가 가장 기대되는 것 같고요. 재밌을 것 같습니다.
I'm looking forward to facing River from PSG. It's gonna be amazing and exciting.
I can imagine. Well, we will see that for next week, but for now, thank you so much for the interview, Wheeler, 감사합니다. And Jason, thank you very much for the translation. And back to you guys in Iceland.
Thank you very much. Great job. They're all playing so far, Laura and Ji-sun. Now, let's take a look at this group. Maybe PSG Talent, Fnatic, Royal Never Give Up, and Hanwha Life Esports. Raz, what is your gut instinct about this group?
Gut instinct tells me that I would probably go for RNG and Fnatic to make it out of this group. I think it's going to be an interesting one between how Hanwha Life fits. I know my biggest criticisms with Hanwha Life has actually been in both Morgan and Willer, so it's nice to hear from them. I think it'll only benefit them that they went through play-ins, to have that experience to look back at VODs and dissect how they want to play the game. They have Chovy though. Depth and Vista looking good too, so there's that there, but it's going to be a hard group. I would still give it to Fnatic and RNG.
I completely agree with Raz as well. I think both the points about the top side and the jungle makes a lot of sense, but I also think stylistically speaking, Hanwha Life Esports has been a bit slow to the trigger. I think that's why it's also really good that they did go through play-ins, but when they finally go up against Fnatic, and when they go up against RNG with the likes of Shahu, and you have Adam who also super facilitates his jungler in Bwipo that they just love playing around, I think you're going to have to be used to a very fast-paced style of League of Legends, and if you're not able to adapt to that real quick before groups settle in, then I think stylistically they might suffer a little bit.
I can definitely see how that stylistically would lead you to think Fnatic, Royal Never Give Up probably have the best cards there, but I'm not going to count out PSG Talent after what I saw from them yet. So very excited. But that's kind of what's exciting is that we don't know what the form of these teams is now at this point in time with the new meta and everything and how they're going to arrive on their first game. But speaking about Hanwha Life, though, every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, Morgan escapes just in time with a TP Soaz himself would be proud of. This was from a while ago, if you didn't catch this. Goldberg?
Yeah, so it's literally a position where he's getting chased down. I think at this point in time, it's one of these positions where the execution coming in from the opponent here was a bit too fast, and we're talking milliseconds before waiting for him to get out. And I guess that's why every second counts by Cisco getting him out of that one.
This is great. I love that sometimes the sponsor call, I'd say, hit just right. We're going to take a quick look at the other two groups before we look at Game 1. So we had Edward Gaming 100 Thieves. Sorry, 100 Thieves. I did it. Sorry, Nadeshot. Don't hate me. I will never do it again. And I lost it now because we lost the group, and it's been a long playing stage. Detonation, Focus Me, and T1, I believe, are also in that group. Raz, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm loving both EDG and T1 on that one. I think 100 Thieves are a great team fighting team, but T1 just they kind of match them really well in bot lane and their strengths too. So I want to see, especially on day one of group stage, how T1 will fare. I mean, they're going up against LGL's first representatives at a main stage in Detonation Focus Me, so it's going to be a good look to see how T1's faring.
And it's also one of these groups where, for some of the others, especially with the teams coming in from Korea and coming in from LPL, a lot of it is about the mid laners and the top side. But for this group specifically, I think down towards the bottom side of the map, we'll be having a lot of action. Not only obviously because of Viper being down there, but I think 100 Thieves with the bot lane they had as well showed some good promise in the playoffs. So for once, I think this will be a bit more of a bot lane dominated group rather than some of the others.
And finally, Group D, we have the Mad Lions, Team Liquid, Gen G, and LNG. And after what LNG pulled off in the regionals and in the play-ins, that group got a lot spicier, Goldberg.
I think this is one of the groups as well where it's about the jungle and the top side of the map, right? So you get Centauri and Elfari versus LNG's Ale, Tarson, and then obviously Mad Lions with Armwood and Ilyoya. All these players that just stepped up before you before we got into playoffs in all these regions. And obviously Gen G, I think, is a bit of a dark horse in this group. Actually, it feels weird to say about Gen G, but if you've been following LCK, you also know that this team does have its inconsistency, but where they don't have it in the top side, they do have it in the bot side instead then.
Raz, final note on that group?
And like, this is where the interview with Mithy comes into play about there being a different meta when you get into this stage, because I'm interested to see what a lot of these teams have practiced. And I think we've got a sneak peek with LNG. LNG, a team that I'm sure has been practicing with a lot of the teams that are going to be in main stage. And how Tarzan's been playing a lot of Talon. I think Talon jungle is something we didn't see too much of during play-ins. I know we'll see a lot more of with how creative LNG has been in, in solo queue, a little bit in play-ins, and they will showcase that in main stage.
Yeah, absolutely. We see there that the opening game of groups is going to be Damwon Kia versus FunPlus Phoenix. I mean, what else do you want as a League of Legends fan? That'll be all from us here for In the Play-In stage. We will be back on Monday. Dash will be hosting the desk on Monday for the opening day of groups. And before we go, let's look back at the best moments from play-ins in our Axe highlights. Bye. Hello everyone and welcome to Worlds 2021 taking place in beautiful Reykjavik, Iceland.
Here we go, Willer goes in, we're going to see the Supreme display his talents hit down to another 4 people as Ale jumps onto Chovy. He will have the counter-strike here onto Morgan, but he's not going to be able to get anything else done. There is the bullet time going down, Willer is dead.
Is the target to go in, but Vulcan's going to try and make a bullet time happen. Vulcan pumps the ulti, but it's just not enough. Steel is going to take him out. Perks is going to get stunned up by Game, and that's 3 clean kills for Detonation Focus Me.
The battle for glory has only just begun.
No flash
Taking away, no flash on Doggo. Balulu dived in, but Balulu died because of it. Alive going with the culling. Husha goes in. Husha steals the Baron. And once again, Beyond Gaming are able to find the clutch factor in these fights.
It's Peace on one side. It's Red Cannons on the other.
Here comes Vizitachi, knocks 2 of them down with the Cataclysm, and now the cavalry has arrived. The stolen charge comes in, and a gigantic Everfrost catches 2 of them.
Beyond and Hanwha Life fight for a spot in groups.
Beyond as they go in, there's the exhaust going down to try and keep Doggo alive. They're going to try and just jump on top of a Moonlight Vigil, completely whipped. PK gets 1 down. That's 1 for Doggo, but they trade it back 1 for 1.
This is the final showdown between Cloud9 and Peace that separates both teams for the final spot in the group stage.
Fud is going to flash through Babin, protected in the little circle of his ulti, but Aladoric not so lucky. And Spud now going to spin through and try and finish off the rest of Pete. Vizitachi does transform, but Blabber tags him, and he's going to get backed up by Fudge. Victory for Cloud9, pushing 1 step further into the World's 2021 group stage.
It all leads to this. Make or break.
Vitality will take them.
A new era is awaiting.